Jewish people do not give a damn about Kanye West. Yes, I'm a Zionist, and yes, I think banning Kanye West from the UK was idiotic. Because where was this energy at of trying to protect the Jews when you allowed your entire country to be flooded by jihadists? You literally last week just met with the Syrian president who is trying to rebrand after he just got done leading an Al-Qaeda proxy terrorist group. Everything about this situation just feels so performative because you don't actually care about protecting Jewish people. You just want to make an example out of Kanye, a mentally ill black man, to try to, save your reputation from the fact that you are a raging anti-Semite. And people keep asking me if Kanye West should be forgiven for, all of his sins and the things that he has done against the Jewish people. And the thing is, it's like, why is that even a question? Because the thing is Kanye West is too big to break. He is too big to ever be truly canceled. He's always going to be famous and popular as long as those hits are still slapping. So he's not going anywhere soon. Do I think he should have been headlining a festival of that size? No, I think there should have been a cool off period because, he was out there praising the mustache man a little too much for my liking. But that being said, I don't think that's the hill that Zionists or Jewish people should be dying on, because that is a bipolar, mentally ill man. His emotions are going to be dictated by a bottle of pills. Like, there are way more existential threats to the Jewish community right now that we should be focused on. Not even just the Jews, all of Western civilization. So let's focus on freeing Iran. Kanye West should be allowed in the UK. And Wireless Festival, y'all should have known better, but you didn't, and now you humbled your bag.
I think people are massively downplaying what this guy did. Like, this wasn't just a one-off incident. This wasn't him just saying something stupid in an interview, for example. This, phase that he had was sustained over many months. He released music, he released merch. I personally don't think this is just a manic episode that you can brush under the carpet, and I say that as someone who thinks that mental health should be taken seriously. If Kanye's bipolar disorder is so severe and so unmanaged that he can spiral into months of open Nazism with nobody around to stop him, the answer isn't to be sticking him on stage at a 3-day music festival. The answer is sustained serious help away from the spotlight, because the cycle we keep seeing at the moment is that he does something horrific and then he apologizes through some carefully timed media piece that drops just before a new album or tour cycle. That's not accountability, that is PR. And let's talk about the people around him, the enablers, because he's surrounded by the exact same people that let all of that happen. Do you think those people really have his best interests at heart? Because if they did, they wouldn't be booking him festival slots, they'd be getting him into long-term treatment like he needs. In my opinion, these are people who benefit from him being financially active instead of being well. Also, who the fuck thought to book Kanye West at a festival in Finsbury Park, right by Stamford Hill, which is home to one of the largest Orthodox Jewish communities in Europe? You're going to book a man who was performing HH, again, less than a year ago, to perform in that neighbourhood. I'm sorry, but that isn't oversight. That's either staggering ignorance or you were just trying to provoke people. And people are also trying to compare this to Donald Trump coming into the UK. And I get why, the man is abhorrent, but Donald Trump is also the president of the United States. Diplomatic relations between nations are not the same as giving a concert booking to a private citizen, unfortunately. But anyway, back to the main story. If you're a Kanye West fan, stop enabling him. Advocate for him to get some real help. Unfortunately, to me, this is just the bare minimum consequence. And in terms of apologising and taking accountability, he still has a long way to go.
Yo, what's up guys? I'm Marius right here. Welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. I felt the need to talk about Kanye being banned from the UK and from performing in the wireless concert, and from the UK in general. And as you've seen from the videos before, that's what those people had to say. We're going to watch a few more clips because I have a very strong opinion about this that I want you to hear. So tune in, like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments down below.
And this just goes to serve my point that I mentioned in my previous video about the hypocrisy of the UK government and brands and corporations at large. Yay, Kanye West has said the most ridiculous, abhorrent statements and indefensible things about his own community, saying that slavery was a choice, that white lives matter, that all of this other stuff that he said over the years. None of it has created a reaction like the reaction we are witnessing today. Comments he made years ago and has since apologised for. He even offered to meet Jewish leaders in London to discuss the hurt he created and the hurt he caused, and yet none of it has created the backlash that we are witnessing right now, with an entire festival cancelled, hundreds of thousands of visitors coming to see it, to see him, to see an entire lineup, to spend millions of pounds in London and to add to the economy, all of these different things. But no, we would rather have him banned and blacklisted from the UK because of what he said than allow any of this to go forward. But what I'm wondering is, why is this the line? Why did it take him to say something anti-Semitic for the backlash to occur like it has? And of course he hasn't attempted to enter the UK and perform like he has until now, but I guess he needed to apologise and try and make amends, and this was his attempt at doing so, which was completely and utterly backfired in his face, but also for the UK government's face, and also for Pepsi, for PayPal, for all these other corporations that seemingly have a moral backbone now that Kanye said this, but don't when it comes to other things like, I don't know, operating in Israel whilst Israel's conducting mass genocide and war crimes upon Gaza and the civilian populations of Lebanon and Palestine. Meanwhile, we're all caring about this and talking about Kanye being banned and Wireless being cancelled. Epstein's client list still sealed, still redacted, still don't know what went on, who did it. They're still walking around as billionaires untouched. Weapons. We are still supplying Israel with weapons to bomb innocent civilians in Gaza and different countries around the Middle East, and we are complicit in that. We still shake the hands of Netanyahu and anyone related to the cabinet in Israel. No messages of outrage about that. Other atrocities happening all around the world, in Africa, in Asia, in South America, all over the place. Nothing said about any of that. Elon Musk platforming far-right activists, doing his own little Nazi salute on stage, and yet again, nothing about that. Really weird. I wonder why. And Kanye has seen the backlash, one of the biggest backlashes of history. $1 billion deals cancelled overnight. Adidas cut him. Yeezy almost lost it. Lost his wife. Almost lost his kids. Almost lost his life. And he's come back, released albums, released an apology, met with different leaders to talk about the harm and different things he's done. And yet, no, still not allowed in the UK. Still have politicians making statements about how disgusted they are about him trying to enter the UK. And yet, no messages, no words of solidarity about anything else that really should be on our headlines every day. How are we forgetting about Epstein? Like, how are we brushing this under the rug and just talking about Kanye? Kanye never met up with Epstein. Kanye never went to his island. And yet people who are still actively in the elite are doing this shit. And we just have to forget about it and move on and focus on Kanye. What? And I'm not saying what Kanye said is defensible or right or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why are we caring about him so much and yet not the other stuff? Not all the other stuff that we should be caring about, and what the stuff that was in our headlines for a day before it was brushed under the rug by Venezuelan president being captured, or Iran being bombed, or Kanye being blacklisted from the UK and from performing at a festival. Surely there are bigger things going on in this world. I'm not sure, but I'd have thought so. And this comes back down to the mechanism that I was referring to in the last video, and that is the mechanism that the UK or anyone can decide who and what is too offensive to allow someone to come into the UK. So it's a slippery slope, like I've said before. It's a slippery slope because, what? If I say something, do you ban me from the UK? Do you ban my bank accounts? Do you close my social apps? Where does this stop? Who decides this next time? What basis? And who gets to vote these things in? Or do we just allow this to get depicted by the UK government and by big brands who seemingly have one opinion on this and not on the other? All for profit, control, distraction and power. That's it. And I'm not here telling you what to think or saying what you should say. I'm just saying, look, this has created something that's moved mountains. We've blacklisted someone. We've cancelled millions of pounds worth of events that are going on in London that weekend. And yet for other things that are seemingly a lot more pressing, with real lives at stake every single day, tens of thousands of lives innocently being lost because of our weapons that we're selling, or our pedo rings that we're allowed to carry on circulating, going on, and trafficking and things in the world, that gets silence. Think about it.
The fact that you tried to cancel him only makes him bigger, because then people are just like, wait a second. So there's really only one group of people that you cannot criticize or talk crazy about and somehow bounce back. They will just eliminate your chances for traveling around the world. You can't even move, groove, vibe, slide to another country and sell it out. It's not like, oh, you know, the numbers ain't gonna be good. No, this man gonna sell the fuck out immediately. And it's crazy because you know exactly why he made that song.
He wearing a motherfucking chain off of me wearing they pain. But they playing, turning up, promoting, and making money off of our pain. But if I wear a piece of they pain, then they're gonna threaten to destroy everything moving, everyone around.
Very valid point, because if you go look up the record labels and who owns them, it'd be very interesting to see where they are tied to. I'm not gonna say where they tied to. They tied to Israel. And to take that a step further, you can say other shit about other people and nothing happens. I mean, Morgan Wallen, he dropped the N-word in a very derogatory term. Nothing happened. Motherfuckers got over that in 48 hours. Because men lie, women lie, numbers do not. And he's proving to you with the Mexico show and then the LA follow-up show that he will sell out within minutes. And that the general public can look at him as a creative artist and be like, okay, hey, that shit was a little bit out of pocket. Maybe a little bit too far. Wasn't wrong though. Motherfucker was just early. Because his whole entire point of making that Adolf song was to point out the fact that that is one group of people's pain you cannot exploit for clicks. Black people's pain, you could do that. White people's pain, you could do that. Asian people's pain, you could do that. Latinos pain, you could do that. But if you go and do the Jewish pain, are you crazy? No. Ban. What? We cutting that song off. We blanking that shit the fuck out. Let's not forget when the trainer literally threatened to have him institutionalized again and medicate the crap out of you and send you back to Zombieland forever so Playdate with the kids just won't be the same. That's not a normal threat that you just throw around. Interestingly enough, Michael Jackson ran into the exact same problems. He wanted to make a song about free Palestine. That wasn't going to go down. And then he was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy all this publishing because I'm going to own the songs. I'm going to own the masters. Labels did not like that. Next thing you know, Michael Jackson sleeps with kids. They can't own you and own your messaging. They cancel you. That's why it's nice to just be a stand-up comedian because they can't tell me shit. But free Kanye.
The easy take is to say the UK did the right thing. Kanye said terrible things and now he's facing consequences. And I understand why that take is tempting, but I think it's too easy. And I think easy takes on complicated situations are how we end up with tools we thought were built for one purpose, quietly getting used for something else entirely. Let me try to actually think through this out loud. So Ye was set to headline all 3 nights of the Wireless Festival in London this July. He hasn't performed in the UK since 2015. The announcement came as part of what was clearly an attempted comeback. He released a Wall Street Journal apology in January, saying he owed a huge apology for everything he said that hurt the Jewish and Black communities, and followed it up with his new album, Bully. So whether that apology was genuine or strategically timed to clear the runway for a return to performing is a question I'll leave with you. I don't know the answer to that. What we do know is the backlash was immediate. I'm going to say something that might make some of you uncomfortable, but sit with it before you react. What Kanye has said, the anti-Semitism, Nazi references, the song are indefensible. Won't argue otherwise and won't soften that. But I'm also not comfortable with the government having the power to ban a person from entering a country because of things they said. And I think those two positions can coexist, even though the internet would very much like you to believe they cannot. Because here's the thing about the president that just got set. The UK denied Kanye entry on the grounds that his presence would not be conducive to the public good. That's an extraordinarily broad standard. Not conducive to the public good. It's a judgment call, not a legal definition with clear edges. And judgment calls made by governments about who is and isn't welcome based on the content of their speech have a history that should make all of us at least uneasy, regardless of who the first target is, because it's never just one target. The first person a new power is used on is almost never the last. And the people designing these mechanisms rarely imagine them being turned against voices they agree with. But that's exactly what tends to happen over time. And also, did banning him actually accomplish anything, or did it just make him louder? Because right now he is the most talked about artist on the planet, and not because of the album he just released or his beautiful concerts, the setups on his concert in his concerts, but because the government banned him from a country and an entire festival collapsed as a result. Every person who had never heard of Wireless Festival now knows about it. Every conversation about anti-Semitism that might have been nuanced and constructive has been flattened into a binary. So into a binary that is, are you for the ban or against it? And Ye himself gets to play the role he has always played best, which is the man the establishment is trying to silence. He even issued a statement saying his only goal was to come to London. I don't know how he pronounced it. London. I don't know. He said that his goal going to London was to present a show of change, bring unity, peace, and love through his music. I'm not saying that's sincere, but I'm saying that the band handed him exactly the narrative he needed. Martyrdom is a very powerful thing, and governments that ban artists have a long and not particularly proud history of accidentally turning those artists into symbols. Everything leaves me conflicted. A music festival should have every right to book whoever they want, and I think the public has every right to boycott, pressure sponsors, and make their feelings loudly known about it. That's how accountability in a free society is supposed to work. The sponsors pulling out, the public outcry, and the political pressure was already working. The festival was already under enormous strain before the Home Office in the UK made its decision. It's not obvious to me that the ban was necessary to stop the festival from happening. What the ban did do is create a cleaner story and a satisfying ending for people who wanted consequences. Personally, I'd rather live in a world where governments don't get to decide which ideas are too dangerous to perform, even when the ideas in question are ones I don't agree with, cause that power doesn't stay pointed only where we want it. It never does. Anyway, that's what I think about the whole of this.